Welcome, LA Ram fans of Inglewood. I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView.
It's hot out there. Let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline,
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terosian, and this is RamView FanView, the February 15th, 2023 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident? Need help? Got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's 661-206-6990. And or check them out at KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been doing it for you since 92. And also by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. Right away, I'd like to thank LA Rams of Inglewood for allowing me to broadcast right here on their platform. Last week, I was at Mid-Valley Sports, and it is really good to have this opportunity. So thank you to Walter Berry and John Gomez, the admins, for allowing me to do this. I'm going to say thank you again to them too. Also, Walter Berry, I've been meaning to ask you, are you the Walter Berry that played at Rutgers and the San Antonio Spurs back in the 80s? I don't know. Just came to mind. Okay. Hey, talking some Ram football. We're going to talk some Ram draft. We're going to talk some Ram philosophy. But here was the deal. Right off the top, we live in an age of conspiracy theory, right? Our government leaders, the tech industry, everybody gives us every reason to believe in conspiracies. Now, should we always believe in conspiracies? No, but your mind can't help go there with the stuff you see all the time. You're smart people. We're much smarter than they think. So about a week or two ago, I was at dinner with my wife, and her phone was sitting, just the phone like this, was just sitting on the table, and we weren't looking at it. We were just having a conversation. It wasn't on any platform. It was just sitting there. And I said, for the heck of it, if I had to travel, I'd want to go to Finland. Now, we don't need to debate why I would want to go to Finland, but I said, just for the heck of it, I mean, who goes to Finland? It'd be fun to come back and say, did you go to Italy? Did you go to France? I said, no, I went to Helsinki. I went to Finland. And sure enough, we go out to the car. We're waiting for the valet to bring the car to us. My wife looks at her phone, and right there, right on her thing, hey, book a trip to Helsinki this summer. And so, yeah, someone's listening. They're always listening, right? And I say that because I've been talking about the Rams' defensive scheme not being fresh. I believe I started talking about that mid-season, and I've been pushing it in the off-season. It's been figured out. And the Rams either need a new DC or a new defensive philosophy. I think Raheem Morris is probably a high-quality character dude. Seems like a good guy. I'm not anti-Raheem Morris, the person, but I sure don't like the defense the Rams have been running. And so they either need a new DC or they need a new defensive philosophy. So what pops up in my feed last night? I mean, these are conversations I'm having with my friends. These are conversations I'm having in different places. What pops up in my feed last night from SB Nation, right? And it's a headline. I think you've all seen it. It's popping up everywhere. Did Chiefs put out the blueprint to beating the Rams defense in Super Bowl 57? That was the headline. Did Chiefs put out the blueprint to beating the Rams defense in Super Bowl 57? And I looked at it, and one, I'm thinking, who's listening to me, right? But the other part is, well, I am fascinated that if somebody, oh man, Joe's been talking about this, we better talk about it. But I think it was just more of that weird algorithm thing. But they're just figuring this out. And people whose jobs are to do this they're just figuring this out. I think Ram fans have figured this out. And they're just pushing this on us now after the Chiefs win the Super Bowl. The NFL has had a blueprint for beating the Rams defense on the field since December of 2022, right? I'm sorry, September of 2022. Hearing them say, hey, the Chiefs put out a blueprint for defeating the Rams defense is like that scene in Die Hard where the lead douchebag with Paul Gleason, right? And the terrorists are the criminals or whatever are shooting out the window and blowing out the searchlights, right? And he says, I think they're shooting at the lights, right? It's like, so like, yeah, late to the party, pal. And did the Chiefs put out a blueprint for beating the Rams defense? Hey, come back to September of 2022 and we'll tell you. See, and you know the blueprint's already out there because you don't need Patrick Mahomes to carve up the Rams defense. Andy Dalton and Colt McCoy were carving up the Rams defense this year. Yeah, any Ram fan who doesn't live in a sports bar or set his watch to the ESPN crawl knows the Rams defense had been figured out, knew the Rams defense had been figured out months and months ago. This is why I would have been perfectly fine with Raheem Morris going to Indy, the Rams collecting a third rounder in compensation, and getting a new defensive scheme or a new DC or both, right? It's cliche to say these days. It really is cliche to say these days. But the NFL is a copycat league. It's filled with disciples and disciples from systems that have success. And the Rams have been running now this soft two-shell that eliminates the big play since at least 2020, right? I think it's been since at least 2020. They've been running this after we kicked Wade Phillips to the curve. We went with this. They went to the 3-4, and they look good. They won a Super Bowl with it. I'm not slamming it, but this is Vic Fangio's defense, and it's been handed down and handed down and handed down. Not that it was ever a bad defense, but you know what? Like everything else in the NFL, it's not new. It's not fresh. It gets figured out. How many, even when he's healthy, how many plays are you seeing Lamar Jackson make compared to the way he made them in 2019, right? The NFL figured him out. He still makes the occasional big play. He's still an excellent quarterback. It's just they kind of figured out how to defend him. This goes back to Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick's first year and a half in the league was like, wow, this guy's special, unique. And then they figured him out, right? Everyone gets figured out. Every scheme gets figured out. They used to run Tampa 2, got figured out. They used to run the 46, it gets figured out. Everything gets figured out, and it just evolves, and it cycles back around, right? NFL went to a passing league, and now you see this weird trend of it going back to a running league, right? And it's not new, it's not fresh. The times change really fast because there's nothing dumb about football. Really intelligent people play football, run football, and I'm not saying run it from the administrative office, from the coaching offices, and they scheme really well. And this is why the Rams have been figured out, and they need to figure out what they're going to do going forward. They need a more aggressive approach to give their pass rush an opportunity to get to the quarterback, right? And here's the problem, too, is right now, all they have is Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd. And we talked about this on Monday. That going in after the Super Bowl last year, the whole run it back period, right? The idea was in any normal world, you would have brought Von Miller back. But then the Bills come in with 6 years and 133 rocks. Von Miller has to take that. And the Rams certainly aren't going to match it. But you're thinking, okay, Justin Hollins gave us a solid year. Terrell Lewis is still a possibility. You know, we got Leonard Floyd. Yeah, okay, we got stuff we could work with. We got talent developing. And right now, all the Rams have is Aaron Donald and Leonard Floyd, right? That's it. That's all the Rams have. And cornerbacks who are asked to play 10 yards off the ball, right? Darian Kendrick is a man guy. We know Jalen Ramsey is. I think Kobe Durant is too, and he actually played pretty well for a rookie. Robert Rochelle is, but Robert Rochelle is in the process of getting Terrell Burgess. Played some in his first year, and then last year he was strictly a special teamer, like they did to Terrell Burgess. So they clearly don't like Robert Rochelle because Burgess is gone. Burgess is playing special teams now for New York, and Robert Rochelle didn't see much action on the field last year on the defense. So right now the Rams have Leonard Floyd and Aaron Donald to go after the quarterback, and cornerbacks 10 yards off a ball. And that means there's passes 8 and 10 yards down the field for the Colt McCoys and the Andy Daltons to take advantage of. You know what that plays a huge part in? That plays a huge part in getting a 5-12 record. A 5-12 record. Now, injuries were unprecedented this year. Unprecedented. No offensive line went ever in the Super Bowl era went through what the Rams went through this year. We've documented that. We've talked about that. Other people. have talked about that. But that defense was brutal. And the thing is that your best pass rushers, Leonard Floyd had 9 sacks. It wasn't a great year for Leonard Floyd, but he only had 9 sacks, and part of that was that extra second, that half second you need to get to the quarterback. You couldn't do it. You just couldn't. You couldn't do it, and so the quarterbacks were able to get rid of the ball, and that's why a Colt McCoy can beat you and look good doing it. That's why Andy Dalton can look good beating you. You look at the Rams 5-12 record. They gave away the game in Tampa Bay. Did you see that drive at the end of the game that Brady put together? That was literally the Rams on a silver platter saying, please win this game, Tom. The Rams win that game. They're maybe 6-11. They beat the Cardinals at home with Colt McCoy, which they should have. They're 7-10. The Rams win that game in New Orleans, which they should have done. They're 8-9. And now there's things you're looking at where it's like, oh my gosh, maybe they could have been in this game. The games they lost to Seattle, they could have easily been, 10-7. I mean, these things were possibilities. I'm not saying 49ers or the Bills or even the Cowboys who handed it to them. But these were games they could have won. And one, they didn't have an offensive line. One, their quarterbacking was bad. And two, their defense was terrible. Don't look at the stats, right? Trust what your eyes saw. And every time it was third down, teams were converting. 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, they're converting. And again, it seemed like the whole Rams strategy was, we know this, no big plays, let the offenses drive, get inside the red zone, and then Aaron Donald or Jalen Ramsey or Bobby Wagner will bail us out. I just don't want to see the same thing again. It is so frustrating to see. So let's take a quick break here, or not a break, a little pause. This is RamView, FanView. And again, I want to thank LA Rams of Inglewood admins Walter Berry and John Gomez for this opportunity to broadcast from their page. It is truly an honor, and I appreciate them. This show is on YouTube, and you can look it up under Joe T Sports, or just type in RamView and hit a like and follow us there. We post there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then every Wednesday, we try to do a live broadcast from one of the Rams platforms as we gain permission. So you can check us out there. Also, we're on Spotify, and you could find us by just tapping out RamView and follow us on Spotify. Our Spotify following, when I started doing RamView a year ago, everyone was saying, oh man, you got to just do a podcast so I can listen to the car. And while our numbers have gone up on our YouTube channel, our numbers on Spotify are almost non-existent. So everyone who was telling me to do Spotify, I guess they're not listening on Spotify. They seem to still be watching us on YouTube. But check us out if you can. And later today, this broadcast will be posted at some other Ram sites. It'll be posted on Twitter. It'll be posted on YouTube, of course, and Instagram. And you could leave us questions, and we'll go from there. But again, thank you to Mr. Barry and Mr. Gomez for allowing me to broadcast here. Okay, last night before the show, I did a quick poll to see if Ram fans could name their all-time offensive line. I just wanted to see what everyone was thinking, and it was interesting. Everyone was thinking the same, and I didn't want 5 left tackles, right? 6 guards, You look at high school teams, right? Their offensive lines, when they pick all CIF or all state or all region, there's 3 centers and 2 guards, right? And it's like, no, I want people by position, right? And so what came back was pretty unanimous. Little Kent Hill was thrown in there, but mostly it was Orlando Pace, left tackle. This is pretty much the consensus. Orlando Pace, left tackle, Hall of Famer. Left guard, Tom Mack, Hall of Famer. Right guard, Dennis Hara, who the people who are getting into the Hall of Fame these days, I'd really love for them to reconsider Dennis Hara. And then right tackle, Jackie Slater. And yeah, okay, that sounds good, all right? Center was the one I was curious about, and center was the one that had the most diversity. There's 3 Rams centers from the early 60s, early to mid 60s to the early 90s, where the Rams only had 3 centers. And that was Ken Einman, who played about 10 years for the club and never missed a game, right? Now, he didn't get his flowers in terms of all kinds of Pro Bowls and all that sort of stuff. But he was a solid center for the Rams, canine and number 50. He was replaced in 76 by Rich Saw. And Rich, or was it 75? I think it might have been 75. Rich Saw, Michigan State, and he was a perennial Pro Bowler. He died a few years ago. And I really think because his career was about, till about 81. But he had a great career for the Rams. And he was the one out of all the centers, he was the one that got the most votes. That Rich Saw is the all-time Rams center in the Super Bowl era. And then the other one was Doug Smith, who joined the team in 78 and was with them through about 91. And he was the one that replaced Rich Saw, and he went to several Pro Bowls. He was an outstanding center. And so you think about it, for close to 30 years, the Rams at center were well represented and in great shape. And that was just one of those things that you always look at with the Rams in those days, is that their offensive lines were fantastic. And they always drafted when Schiavelli and Cowan and all these guys were playing well. John Williams was another right tackle who was just wonderful for the Rams. All those years those Rams teams were winning, they were drafting for depth. They kept drafting the Doug Francis, the Kent Hills, the Dennis Harras, and let alone picking up guys like Duval Love, Tony Slater, Bill Bain. They were finding people left and right to really become stars at the offensive line. And so it's tough to see when an offensive line struggles for the Rams. So I want to say thank you to Steve Ramirez, my friend, also another former sports writer, Doug Palmer, John M. Phillips Sr., Tony Dayton, Joe Leacano, and Paul Kistler for all contributing. I know I might have missed somebody in there, but I want to say thank you. Also, I did a breakdown on this about a year and a half ago on the Rams offensive lines. It's on my website, joetarosian.com. When I post this, I'll post a link to that story, and it really is just an overview of the Rams offensive lines from the early 60s to the early 90s, and I'll let you take a look at that and just see how blessed the Rams were at offensive line for all those years. My name again is Joe Tarosian. I spent 21 years as a sports writer, as one of the founding guys at Mid-Valley Sports. I've written thousands of columns, sports articles. I also pastor a small church in Burbank, and you can follow us there at Burbank Faith Virtual. It's right here on YouTube and Facebook. And I supplement my income as a pastor by doing RamView and by writing books. All my books are available on Amazon. You type in my name and they come up, and or visit my website at joetarosian.com. It's not a perfect website. It's just got stuff. And most of my books, my two most popular books are high school football novels called Tangent Dreams and Temple City, Company of the Ages, as well as I've written some Christian dystopia and others, and you can check those out. All right, cool. So as we're moving along at the 18-minute mark, I got one viewer. If you're out there, say hi, and I'd love to say hi to you. It is cool, again, to have this platform to share on and let you guys see it. Go LA Rams of Inglewood, great site. And it is a smart site. Not all Rams platforms are smart. A lot of it's fanboy, but the ones I've kind of like cherry picked are the ones I want to be part of. Is the sense that I just want someone to have a normal conversation. That when we talk about the Rams, who've been to 2 Super Bowls, right? After so many years of darkness, who are competitive every year after so many years of darkness. One of the things that drives me crazy is someone gets online and just says, McVay sucks, or Baker Mayfield should be the starter over Matthew Stafford. And it's like, I don't want to have those conversations. I want to have the conversations about, hey, who did the Rams draft? Who are they looking at? What's their depth? And what's their philosophy and their scheme going forward? And have a conversation. And LA Rams of Inglewood is one of the better platforms out there. And so again, I thank Walter Berry and John Gomez for allowing me to do this. Some quick Ram notes. The coaching staff hires, I'll get into them as the offseason progresses. I think you could waste too much time talking about them. The most important part are OC-DC. But then again, OC, we know Sean McVay is going to run everything unless someone is really not so good. And I think they really decided that Liam Cohen was not so good, and they moved on from there. And so Raheem Morris is likely going to be back as DC. Again, I'd still like to see the Rams make a change there. or again, change in philosophy. I know it's the season where we're looking for information and we're looking for stuff to talk about as we talk about the Rams. But I saw this headline on one of the sites that talked about Matthew Stafford might not be a high favorite to win an MVP award. Do you really care? Does any Ram fan really care whether or not Matthew Stafford wins the MVP? No, all I care about is Matthew Stafford to be upright, his neck to be good, his noggin to be good, and his elbow to be good so he can spend the offseason throwing to Allen Robinson and getting in the work they didn't get in last season because of his elbow. I want to see him playing with Cooper Kupp in the offseason. I want to see them developing with Bryson Hopkins. If they don't draft a tight end, they have to draft a tight end. That's what I want to see from Matthew Stafford and another Super Bowl run. Maybe a Super Bowl win. That's what I want to see. Winning the MVP? Why should we care? Really, why should we care, right? I don't even care if Aaron Donald wins another Defensive Player of the Year award. I just want to win the Super Bowl. I don't care if Aaron Donald was triple teamed and Greg Gaines ends up coming back and getting 15 sacks and Aaron Donald only 6. I just want to win a Super Bowl. And I just get amazed at the low-hanging fruit sometimes the sports media throws out there when there's so many other things to be talking about, right? Especially going forward. We're not talking DBs today. We're not talking defensive backs today. But I feel like since there are some people hearing me today that haven't heard me before, that they should hear me say, no, I do not think a trade of Jalen Ramsey is a good idea in any way, shape, or form. I think what you should expect is Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald. These guys understand their window. They better understand their window. And if they need to adjust their contracts, which is built in, they're still going to get money. And actually, they might end up getting more because all these deals are built to be restructured. And they also get a little kicker, a little sweetener, a little extra dough, a little extra mamu if they renegotiate or restructure their contract to get the Rams where they need to be on the cap. And we'll talk more about the cap going forward. But I don't think trading Jalen Ramsey is a good idea. A trade of Jalen Ramsey for draft picks and for the relief of salary cap depth, to me, is basically announcing that the window on this era is closed. And if you're going to trade Jalen Ramsey, let's see if Aaron Donald wants to go to Pittsburgh. Let's see who else wants to be moved because you're going to be about in a rebuild. And the rebuild's going to be coming soon enough, and it's not going to be as painful as everybody thinks, but you need to take advantage of this window. Ram fans should be wanting the team to take advantage of this window after all those years of darkness, right? They should be wanting them to take advantage of it. So keep Jalen Ramsey and do something creative with him, like free safety, move him to free safety, change the scheme, let him run and do what he does best, right? He tackles well, he can rush the quarterback, free him even more to be who he needs to be. Trust in the corners you drafted. So anyway, latest mock drafts, right? And it's really getting crazy. And you can find a mock draft every day, every hour of every day. But high-profile platforms, when they do them, I do like to mention them. Latest from NFL.com shows the Rams in their draft in the first 3 rounds, taking Georgia edge linebacker Nolan Smith at number 36. And then at number 69, it shows the Rams taking Boise State safety J.L. Skinner III. Smith, I understand, early on, he was kind of in that 30 to 40 range overall in the draft. But lately, I've seen him moved up into the late first round. In fact, the mock draft I saw today that I'm going to talk about briefly in a few seconds here had Nolan Smith going at number 27 to Buffalo. Nolan Smith's going to be a first-round pick, likely, or very, very, like number 33 overall in the NFL draft this year. Do you like the idea if the Rams can get him? Get him. But chances are he's going to be gone. Number 69, it showed the Rams taking J.L. Skinner, and that I do not understand. I don't know if they just ran a mock draft simulator. I don't know what they're thinking. The Rams have Jordan Fuller coming back for another year. We're going to find out if he's got anything left to show after that good rookie year in 2020. Uh, and they invested last year heavily in Russ Yeast and Quentin Lake in the draft. So do I see them going at number 69, taking another safety? I don't. I'm not saying it can't happen. You can never say with the Rams it can't happen. But those that are saying it will happen are not reading their history on the club in the Snead era. The Rams, the Rams do budget rental on safeties, right? And all that I think some of the media is seeing that maybe aren't close enough to the Rams or not really investing the time is all they're seeing is Nick Scott and Taylor Rapp leaving via free agency. LaMarcus Joyner left. T.J. McDonald left. Rodney McLeod left. And John Johnson III left, right? Rams don't give second contracts, right? And so I'd be really surprised if Taylor Rapp or Nick Scott come back. And if they come back, we better give them dirt money because you did invest in Russ Yeast. You did invest in Quentin Lake. And I don't see the Rams spending the number 69 overall on a safety. They could take a safety, but I don't see them spending the 69 on it when they're still maybe an edge at 36, running back at 69, offensive lineman at 69. Like I said, I don't want an offensive lineman at 36, but I'll take one at 69. Tight end. These are the things the Rams should be looking for. I don't see a safety as a high priority inside the first 100 for the Rams of draft picks. The mock drafts we've been studying lately, studying daily, show the Rams going tight end, right? Luke Kincaid of Iowa, Luke Musgrave, Oregon State, and offensive line. We've seen that. And I believe in play is an edge, tight end, offensive line, but also running back. And that's something we should really consider is will the Rams take a running back? Could they take a running back at 36? The most recent mock draft this morning on PFF, Pro Football Focus, like I said, you can find a mock draft every hour of every day. There are mock draft simulators everywhere. They're cool. They're fun. I kind of like to not necessarily pick the Rams if I'm going to run a mock draft simulator. I'll pick a team that doesn't have a pick in the first couple rounds, say the 49ers, so I don't have an influence on the draft, right? I want to see what everyone else is doing and what the trends are, and so who's in that range. So the mock draft I saw today showed the Cowboys taking Texas running back Bijan Robinson, first round, number 26 overall. Now, Bijan Robinson in another era would probably be a top 10 pick. He's a heck of a running back. And, of course, the Cowboys would love to have that Texas kid, right? So they have him projected at number 26 going to the Cowboys. And then the next two running backs don't go until number 52 overall and number 61 overall. Also in this mock draft, tangent, it shows the Rams taking the edge out of USC, Tuli Piloto, right? And he's the first time I've seen his name pop up. So we see Nolan Smith today, and we see Tuli Lapoto out of USC at the edge going in mock drafts for the Rams. But sticking to the running backs, Bijan Robinson at 26. At number 52, Jahmyr Gibbs, Alabama, going to the Dolphins. And at number 61, and this is the one my friend Steve Ramirez suggested, and the one that's kind of popped into my head too, was the Panthers. And the Panthers took Zach Charbonnet out of UCLA. That's not Joe Charbonnet. He used to play for the Cleveland Indians. It's Zach Charbonnet. And he was the name that I was thinking. But they got him all the way down at number 61. I wouldn't be upset unless there's something somebody knows about Zach Charbonnet, other than you don't want to draft a running back too high that you think you can get later on. But he would be a great addition to the Rams, right? Good combination of power and speed and be nice, right? And the PFF Big Board, they have a great draft board on Pro Football Focus that lists the top 100 prospects. And in the top 50 of the top 100, the only running back listed in the top 50 is Bijan Robinson of Texas. And then 7 more are listed 51 to 100. And so the era of the great running back, that dominant running back, there's only one every couple of years that seems to be coming out. The Derrick Henrys and Dalvin Cooks, those guys. You don't see them anymore, right? Running backs are dispensable. So I don't necessarily expect Bijan Robinson to be there for the Rams at 36, but I wouldn't mind Charbonnet out of Westwood or Gibbs out of Alabama. I'm not big on Crimson Tide quarterbacks, But I am big on Crimson Tide running backs. They're generally pretty good. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. Right now, the Rams, they're two backs. Malcolm Brown, do you really see Malcolm Brown coming back? And do you want Malcolm Brown coming back with the idea that he's going to be this heavy contributor, right? I don't know, right? Right now, the Rams have Kyren Williams out of Notre Dame. He showed some nice flash. He's not an every down back. No one is anymore. But the closest one the Rams have to an every down back is Cam Akers. And my hope is in his fourth year, the last year of his contract, that they run Cam Akers until he drops. Let him run for that next contract and just work him. Because the truth is, he's probably not going to be signing again with the Rams, even if he has a great year. And if you franchise tag him because he had a great year, 1 year, 10 mil, depending on where the Rams cap situation is going to 2024, we'll find out if he can really be those flashes that he shows us, like at the end of 2020 and at the end of last season. But the one thing I do want people to remember that's really important to remember is Isaiah Pacheco, okay? The Rams actually, on a lot of different draft boards last year, Isaiah Pacheco was circled as someone the Rams might be interested in, right? But Isaiah Pacheco not only played in the Super Bowl, but contributed heavy in the Super Bowl. During the season, Isaiah Pacheco rushed for 830 yards and 5 touchdowns. What a great rookie year. Do you know where Isaiah Pacheco was drafted? Out of Rutgers? 7th round, 252nd overall. That means 251 players in 7 rounds of drafting were taken ahead of Isaiah Pacheco. And Isaiah Pacheco, taken in 7th round, 252 overall, out of Rutgers, rushed for 830 yards and 5 touchdowns during the regular season, and he was a contributor, a major contributor, in Sunday's Super Bowl. What does that mean? It means you can find a running back anywhere these days. They're dropping on the boards. It's wide receivers, it's corners, it's edge, it's tackles, and quarterbacks, right? And so the running back is a disposable position, right? And so you can find one. You know, the Rams have gotten a lot of clicks out of Ben Skoranek, and he was about 7th overall, 251, I think. 7th round, 251 overall. He was supposed to be just a special teams player. The Chiefs got a major Super Bowl contributor at 252 overall. So there's always running backs to be had. And even if the Rams decide at number 36 and number 69, they don't want a running back, that's okay. Let's focus on edge, tight end. Let's give Matthew Stafford some weapons and the ability to stay upright, maybe adding an extra body to the offensive line, which I think is going to be better than people think if everyone stays healthy. Let's look at those things. Let's not waste time with a safety or worrying about drafting a running back too high if it's not the guy we want. You can find someone deep. All right. In other news, this is RamView, FanView, but since I'm on Rams of Inglewood today, I kind of really kept it Ram-centric as we hit the 33-minute mark. We got to wrap this up. If the playoffs started today, the Lakers 26-32 wouldn't even be in the play-in game. They host the Pelicans tonight. LeBron James is supposed to be back. But the season doesn't matter anyway because it was all about LeBron getting the scoring title. He got the scoring title, got to go to the Super Bowl, got his flowers, everyone's happy. They don't care, right? I don't think LeBron cares. I really don't. You can't, you see his workouts, you got to be out there and you got to find a way. And they're not finding a way, even though they made some good deals. The Clippers didn't look too bad last night against, and not too great against a Steph-less Golden State team. They got a win. The only thing I can say I'm watching the Clippers is give me some more Norman Powell. The dude has turned into a killer on the court. Spring training has started, and my platform lost the lost the MLB network. Isn't that amazing? The platform I use lost the MLB network. So not only can I not watch the Dodgers and Angels, I can't watch their games, I can no longer watch anyone talk about the Dodgers and Angels because the MLB network is now off my platform. I thought that was beautiful. Great. I think the MLB, because no one wants to talk about it anymore, they need to find a way to maybe work a deal out with every platform. They also probably should figure out a way for these teams when they sign their contracts to let the locals watch the game. I still think 50% of the LA market is blacked out from Dodgers and Angel games. And you know what? I don't care. I'm a Met fan. And Derek Carr starts his recruiting tour. There we go. He got it in. Again, I'm Joe Tarosian, and thank you so much for clicking on. And leave your comments, and we will go from there. Again, thank you to our sponsors, Kistler Law, KistlerLawFirm.com. Check that out. And also Temple City Auto Repair. Thank you again to John Gomez, Walter Berry, and everyone at LA Rams of Inglewood for allowing me to broadcast here. Please leave your comments, leave your likes, even if you disagree. God bless. Take care. We will talk to you soon.